Hey guys, what's going on? In today's video, I've got something quite different for you all. So with the addition of the newest blindfold item, I decided it would be the best time to make a Deceit 2 item tier list on this channel. So yeah guys, in today's video, I'll be making a item tier list for every single role in Deceit 2 as of right now. And of course, if you guys disagree with anything I say in this video, or you just want to comment on something, feel free to do so in the comments section down below. As always, if you guys go on to enjoy today's video, I'd appreciate it if you liked and subscribed, as that really does help the channel. Also, we are approaching 200 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for your support. I really do appreciate it. And yeah guys, that's gonna be it. I'm gonna get right into the video. Alright, so this is my tier list for the basic innocent human role. I'll begin with the gun. This is just the best damage dealing item in the whole game, and the alternatives don't even come close to it, which is why it's on the top of S tier. Next up, we have the invisibility medallion, which is by far the most powerful non-damage item in the game as of right now for every single role, in my opinion. The camera is the best light item, so its placement makes sense. The sanity serum is very powerful. It replenishes all of your sanity, hence why it is in the S tier. The walkie-talkie is great for communication and relaying information on a private channel, also allowing you to suspect who the infected is if they do not respond through the walkie-talkie. Light Trap is a fantastic item that can actually be used in certain locations like portals to make travel completely safe, or even the exit gates. The CCTV is definitely one of the most slept on items in my opinion in the game. A lot of people will actually be very surprised by how much value they get out of this item that one time they pick it up. Not even kidding. If everyone uses CCTVs as an innocent, then the infected will never be able to get alters done without getting caught. Not even joking. Key goggles is just a fantastic innocent item. You can keep tabs on basically everyone on the map. You may even be able to see people run away from certain blood altars and then deduce who is infected from that. Handcuffs are a decent item, however they're not in the S tier because it's only a decent item for a basic innocent role. They are definitely one of the most powerful items in the game though, and should not be slept on in other roles despite them being in only low A tier for the human tier list. Player tracker is great. You can keep tabs on someone for 90 seconds, and if they transform, then you know they're infected. Flare is only a really good item in the end game when you just chuck it down on a door, and then it's basically a free escape, but can still be pretty decent in the mid game. Torch is a nice item to remove any sanity draining entities like walleyes, wolves, jack-in-the-boxes, and the bat, but is not too consistent when it comes to blinding the actual terrors themselves. The bag scanner is a great item for catching people off guard, as many people don't actually suspect the bag scanner. However, if no one suspects the bag scanner, then the infected or evil roles will choose very suspicious items where you will catch them if you scan them. Adrenaline is good in the in-between and can even override the zero sanity effect, which is quite powerful in my opinion. Knuckle Duster is a great alternative to the gun if you get the Knuckle Duster as your first item, as you might be able to get away with just having a Knuckle Duster as your primary damage item if you're a basic human. Motion sensor is a one-use motion alarm that triggers a very audible noise if a weak point gets activated. However, if you don't hear it, then you kind of just waste that item. Return pad's good, but it does make you look suspicious, especially if someone has a bag scanner. However, it can definitely save your life, but just once. Decoy is decent, but against more skilled players, it will definitely know if what they are chasing is a decoy. So this could easily go down a couple tiers in higher skilled lobbies. Hammer of Mending is pretty situational, and I would only recommend you get this item if you have a CCTV. There's really no reason you should be getting bandages unless you are on low health when you buy them, or if there's a chemist. There's no reason you should get a ball and chain unless you used your handcuffs. There's not much value you can get from a gas grenade or a smoke grenade in my opinion as an innocent, but especially as a human. No reason you should be using a mask or a muzzle as an innocent, only in some really specific scenarios in my. I'm not going to even talk about blindfold and earmuffs, as their effect is just so minuscule and weak. I don't even want to talk about them. All right, and there we go. This is the human tier list. Onto the next tier list, which is the Inquisitor tier list. Now, not much has changed from the human tier list. I moved up the heat goggles as they are by far way more useful as an Inquisitor, since you can physically see the red outline of a person actually doing the altar with your Inquisitor ability and running away. If you manage to catch up to them, then you will instantly know that they're infected, and that is just a great use of the heat goggles and probably the best possible use of the heat goggles you can get in this game. I also moved up the player tracker as you can actually see someone maybe running around and you can see that outline actually triggering an altar, which is also a great way to find out if someone is infected as the Inquisitor. However, I don't think it is as useful or as consistent as the heat goggles. Now onto the Guardian tier list. I have only moved up one item, which would be the walkie-talkie. By giving someone a walkie-talkie and confirming that they're innocent because either you protected them or they kept talking to you while there were two terrorists in the in-between, you can relay valuable information on who is protected while keeping your identity safe with them, which is honestly just fantastic and can prevent you from being targeted by the infected. All right, next up is the Warden tier list. I moved up 3 main items, which will be the handcuffs and the heat goggles. When you mark someone, the #1 priority is to kill them as quickly as possible. Heat goggles are a great way of finding your mark as you can see them from anywhere on the map. Also, if you mark someone, chances are they're probably hiding from everyone if they are infected or cursed. And if they are infected, they will try and stay away from every outline that they can see. And handcuffs are just great. Can make quick work of your mark, as once you handcuff somebody, there's not much they can really do. Next up for the seer, I only moved up 1 item, and that is the walkie-talkie. Similar to the Guardian situation, you always want to relay information to someone that you know is innocent, possibly someone that you saw in the first night that you know is innocent because 2 terrorists were out, and you can relay them information about who is innocent and who is non-infected. Again, really with the seer and the Guardian, it's all about information, while with the Warden and the Inquisitor, it's all about finding the infected and killing the infected. Alright, this is my infected tier list. Now I will quickly go through every single item and why I placed them in their tier. Now being an infected, a pistol is essentially required. You can't really play the game without a pistol and win consistently, so definitely on the top of S tier. Invisibility medallion is a very, very useful item for the infected. More useful in my opinion than the mask, because you can see where everyone is on the map and exactly when they're gonna have line of sight on you, so you can pre-fire your invisibility medallion. Very, very useful item. Mask, because you can hide your identity and possibly convince other people that someone else is infected that isn't you. You could also do many crazy plays, especially with soul swap and confusion, by masking yourself as someone else and then soul swapping with that person so that it looks like to other people that nothing has changed and no one soul swapped. That is probably the best value you can get out of the mask in my opinion. Handcuff to incapacitate anyone that catches you and starts fighting you pretty easily. Return pad can easily save your life if you're getting chased and you just pop your return pad and TP to safety. Adrenaline is nice, especially for running away and 1v1s, by giving you speed that ultimately gives you that extra edge. Knuckle dusters are good, not as good as the gun of course, but they're better than a lot of the other items on here, which is why it's in the high B tier. Ball and chain is, you know, it's good if you don't have handcuffs, because either you use them or handcuffs are banned or something. It's a good alternative, and in my opinion the best alternative. You might want to use a muzzle on someone if they know something that you don't want everyone else knowing. You can put it on someone seconds before the in-between phase comes so that you can quickly kill them in the in-between phase and then they don't tell a single soul. Bandages are more practical as the infected because you might get shot at more often and you'll lose health more. Definitely better as an infected than as an innocent in my opinion. Decoy is nice. You can place it down and then people will chase it, possibly because they're trying to look for you because they know you're infected, etc. Now, despite you being able to see people for the majority of the game, heat goggles are quite good, but only obviously in the ritual destabilization period, as you cannot see everyone. So it's pretty great. but only in that one scenario, which might not always happen. Despite how weak a gas grenade usually is, it's way more useful as the infected, as you can chuck it at a generator point where people are trying to repair, or some area where everyone is bunched up or grouped up in. With a gas grenade, you might even be able to down multiple people at once. The only practical use for a player tracker as the infected, in my opinion, is placing it on someone and then tracking their location during the in-between phase so that you can catch up to them and kill them much easier. So before I move on, I would just like to say that every item, including the sanity serum and beyond, are pretty much practically useless for the infected, but I'll just keep going. Sanity serum is not useful at all in terms of practicality. However, it can convince other people that you're innocent if you use one. Smoke grenade can be useful, but it's still just a really bad item, so it's pretty low on this tier list. Camera is the second best item, in my opinion, to have in order to prove to other people that you're innocent, because practically every non-infected gets a camera because it's just the best light item in the game. Having a walkie-talkie can be surprisingly useful as the infected, but only if you give your walkie-talkie to your teammate, obviously. You can maybe convince people that you and your teammate are both innocent because you guys have been talking to each other in the walkie-talkie during the in-between. The flare, the bag scanner, the light trap, the CCTV, and the torch are all just to prove people that you're innocent. However, they're not as effective as a camera or a sanity serum, in my opinion. And finally, onto the useless tier. All of these items are practically useless as an infected, and you can't really get any value out of them. The hammer of mending, because you don't want to fix the CCTV cameras or I guess the wall cracks, but there's not really many cases where you'd want to fix those things, especially the CCTV cameras. Motion sensors, one use, and I guess you could place it down so that people might think you're an innocent, but you're gonna have to remember to destroy it later because it could easily screw up you or your teammate if you guys forget that you placed it on an altar. And then finally, blindfold is just useless. Earmuffs are even more useless, so yeah. That wraps up the infected tier list. All right, onto the first curse role, which is the mimic. Now, the mimic is definitely very weird because in the middle of the game, you either transition to an innocent or an infected. So this tier list is solely for that pre-transition phase. And I would just like to say that this tier list is for mimic players that do not really know which role they're going into. Obviously, if you know that you're going to become an innocent or you know that you're going to become an infected, I would just copy the tier list of the other roles that you're planning on going into. However, if you are very unsure of what role to go into, this is my general tier list for that, where a lot of the best innocent and the best infected items are practically in similar spots, as this tier list is for just in case you get into innocent or you get into infected. Not much to explain here. Alright, so this is my tier list for the Chemist role. I put the gun on top for obvious reasons, but the invisibility medallion I just want to put much more emphasis on, because as a chemist, the invisibility medallion is invaluable, especially in the phase where you're starting to banish everyone because you poisoned everyone and they are looking for you actively. The invisibility medallion will hide your purple outline. And if you still have all the time left on it, you can just stay invisible and the poison should kill everyone if they don't have bandages. The camera and sanity serum just make it easier to survive in the in-between phase, as well as the light trap. Handcuffs are great, especially in that final phase or close to that final phase where everyone's starting to know that you are the chemist or at least suspect it. Return pad's great, especially once you've poisoned everyone. You can just press your return pad, go to a safe area, and then just stay there and wait for everyone to die. Mask is useful as you can hide that purple outline and change your outline to, I guess, someone else's. But the main purpose is to hide your identity. It doesn't really matter who you transform into as long as you don't run into that person, because everyone at that moment will be looking for you and you specifically, not someone else. Because obviously, killing the chemist is the #1 priority when everyone's starting to get banished. Heat goggles are great, especially for avoiding everyone if you're trying to run away from people, especially when you have most or everyone poisoned. Adrenaline's great because you can run away fast. That's really it. You can also use a walkie-talkie to try and convince other people that you're innocent by talking to them through the walkie-talkie because you're obviously not infected. The flare and the torch are great for surviving in the in-between. The gas grenade, you may be surprised by this placement, but especially the gas grenade as the chemist when everyone is starting to get banished is especially useful for blocking off an area. as the poison effect and the toxic gas effect stack when it comes to the health drain. So basically someone that stands in the poison gas for even a couple seconds will immediately die from 100. The player tracker is not really that useful, but you can use it to keep tabs on a specific person. And if you find out they're infected, then great, you know they're infected, but it isn't as useful as if you're an innocent. I'm sorry guys, I just realized that bandages were in C tier. I realize that that is not the correct tier for bandages. They are definitely higher B tier, especially for the Chemist, as the bandages allow you to regain HP, especially when everyone is starting to get banished, as the bandages really just help you outlast everyone else and are really good at it. Okay guys, I'm really sorry I'm moving around items, but I just had to place the ball and chain higher on the tier list. Not anything too crazy, but it is better than all these items over here in my opinion, because you can actually make someone completely still and they will just die to your poison. Decoy is useful, but again, it is in C tier because if you are going against skilled players, then it is kind of useless because someone can easily tell it's a decoy. However, it can be extra useful as a Chemist if you're trying to distract people. Hammer of Mending is it's okay. You can fix wall cracks to traverse the map easier, but that's really it. Motion sensor, smoke grenade, and these two items, again, these items are just bad in general for every role. I guess not the motion sensor, but these items right here, they're just really bad. I guess you could argue that the motion sensor might go into decent because it at least tells you who the infected is, but you honestly don't want the infected to get caught as the Chemist, as you rely on them to kill people. So that's why it's in the D tier. But yeah, guys, that is the Chemist tier list. Okay, so this is my Soulbound tier list. I'm just going to begin from the S tier. The gun, because it's the gun. The invisibility medallion because it's just OP. Now the camera is extra useful as a soulbound because you can even flash the terror if they have hold of your teammate, which keeps both of you guys alive in the process, which is just wonderful. Sanity serum because it's really good. Handcuffs, especially for the soulbound, is a really good item as you and your teammate can coordinate the use of your handcuffs to incapacitate certain subjects. It's just great. Light traps can be very useful, especially when it comes to saving your teammate. Heat goggles are good for keeping track of people, especially when they are looking for both you and your teammate. Mask is useful so that you can disguise yourself and hide your identity. Return pad is great, especially if people are looking for you or your soulbound teammate. You guys could even place both of your return pads together so that you guys can return and regroup as well. Having a walkie-talkie is great because you can communicate with another person, and because you aren't infected, you can clear yourself while also telling that person that someone else, your soulbound teammate, is also clear because you like followed them or you saw them or something. Essentially making that team from 2 to 3 without that third guy actually knowing that you guys are both soulbound. Flare and torch are just to survive in the in-between. Bandages are very useful, especially for that final encounter, because as a soulbound, you basically need to win by killing the rest of the people in the ritual destabilization. Or if your soulbound partner is a infected, they can just kill someone in the in-between and then you guys win. Sorry, gas grenade was up here, I forgot to move it. But the muzzle is extra good as the soulbound because if you muzzle someone, the power of 2 voices, which is yours and your teammates, is better than the power of, well, no voice, I guess. I don't really know where I was going with that statement. But you can use the muzzle to really make sure someone gets voted out. Ball and chain is good if you don't have handcuffs or it's banned. Adrenaline's good because you can counter the 0 sanity effect and just run faster. Knuckle dusters are good, not as good as the gun, but they're decent. They're better than this. Player tracker is nice. However, you don't really need it as much if you're the soulbound, but it's a decent, fairly good item. CCTV is all right, especially if you want to keep tabs on people. Bag scanner is also okay. Gas grenade is if, but you can use it to take out multiple people in groups, which as a soulbound is extra useful sometimes. Decoy, again, it's really based on the skill of your lobby, whether or not you get value out of this, so that's why it's in C tier. Hammer of Mending is a bit more useful to fix wall cracks, I guess, but it's still pretty, You don't want everyone knowing who the infected is as a soulbound because you want the infected to kill people, so having this item is just, you shouldn't really be using this item. Smoke grenade is bad, and then these 2 items again are just ass. Yeah, that is my soulbound tier list explanation. All right, and the final role I will be doing a tier list on is the brand new Phantom role. Starting off with the gun, it is very useful, especially for making people really hate you and want to vote you out. Invisibility medallion, in my opinion, is more convincing than a mask, as the invisibility medallion really convinces people that you're trying to stay hidden and not put yourself out there to get caught. However, the mask is almost equally as good in doing that. That's just why I put the invisibility medallion up in front of it, but they are both almost equally just as good items. Camera and sanity syringe are just to stay alive in the in-between. Handcuffs are very useful, especially for incapacitating someone, or even putting handcuffs on someone before you get voted out, just so you can make them an easy kill when you are the menace. Also, if you put this on someone, they'll probably just hate you, which is good as well. Light trap is a survival item. Heat goggles are good for seeing where people are, and especially making yourself get, you know, wow, I'm so inconveniently caught by these people that I went in this direction and got, you know, caught by, wow, this is really bad for me, even though you obviously want to get voted out. You want to make sure that people actually see you do your horrible deeds. So this will help you find people easier. Return pad's great for making people think that you're infected. Muzzle's great because it may make it seem like you have information that someone else knows, but you don't want to have them say it to anyone. Ball and chain's good because similar reason to the handcuff and the muzzle. Flare and torch are survival items. CCTV is all right. Walkie-talkies are also all right, but it can help convince people that you are infected if you're not talking through it. However, it doesn't really work as well because you give someone the walkie-talkie, so they wouldn't really think that you are infected. That's why it's in B tier. Still a decent item though, I guess. Adrenaline's good. Knuckle duster is also good. Back scanner and player tracker, However, they can both help you determine who's the infected, which is who you want to protect and not have die. Gas grenade's good, although weak, but it is great in helping you seem like you are infected. Decoy is alright. Hammer of mending, alright. Bandages, you don't really need bandages because you're planning on dying anyway, only in the end game though. Smoke grenade sucks. You don't want people to figure out who the infected are, so this is just useless. And then of course, these two items are dog shit. And yeah, guys, there you go. This is the tier list for every single role as of right now in Deceit 2. If you guys want to refute or comment on any of my tier lists, feel free to do so in the comment section down below. If you guys did enjoy today's video, I'd appreciate it if you subscribed and liked, as it really does help the channel. And thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys all next time.